There are certain places in the US that are so haunted you should never, ever visit. Whether or not you believe in the paranormal, there are countless stories surrounding these 10 hotspots that have made them infamous. So infamous, in fact, that you probably know are number one from popular media without even knowing that you do. I took my time with this chilling research to make sure I found the craziest supernatural sites around. We'll explore together across the country and discover the most haunted locations in the United States. Let's count it down. Coming in at number 10 is the St. Augustine Lighthouse in St. Augustine, Florida. It only makes sense that the oldest city in the country would also be home to one of its most haunted locations. The historic site saw the construction of the lighthouse after the Civil War in 1874. In that almost 150 years of history, 2 of the deceased lighthouse keepers are said to haunt it to this very day. The first of the 2 loved the finer things in life, especially cigars. Visitors claim they smelled the distinct scent of cigar smoke upon entering the keeper's quarters. The second keeper fell to his death from the top of the tower after the railing failed. Many say they still hear his screams echoing from all around the tower. But the most famous ghostly residents are 2 young girls named Eliza and Mary. Daughters of a contracted worker, both plunged to their deaths off the side of a cliff while playing in their father's equipment cart. Guests claim that they can still hear the children laughing as they play throughout the passageways. Number 9 goes to a lunatic asylum in Weston, West Virginia. This mental institution opened its doors in 1864 with the intention of housing 250 patients, but by the 1950s, it was home to over 2,600 patients. The overcrowding made conditions within the asylum miserable. This led to hundreds of deaths within its walls. Now, it's said that ghostly apparitions have been seen wandering the dark halls of the asylum. People have described hearing manic laughing and cries of pain from disembodied voices throughout the facility. At number 8 is the Villisca Axe Murder House. The name kind of speaks for itself on this one, but the story is that of an unbelievably heinous act. The walls of this house still protect the identity of the monster who, in 1912, entered the home and bludgeoned to death Josiah Moore, his entire family, and their 2 guests. 6 of the 8 people murdered were young children. The killer used the blunt end of the axe to brutally murder his victims, leaving the bodies for the neighbors to find the next day. Now, visitors can take tours of the house, and some brave souls have even stayed the night. Those who have described hearing laughter from the children who were killed at the hands of an axe murderer. Lucky number 7 is the Bell Witch Cave in Adams, Tennessee, which you might not be so lucky to find yourself at. The story dates back to 1804 when John Bell and his family moved to the surrounding land. It's said that the family began seeing strange animals and creatures that they couldn't explain in the woods around the cabin. Then, a strange voice began to speak directly to the family, and word got out to the surrounding areas that a witch lived on the land within a cave and that she had cursed the family. It's said that the witch killed John, who died mysteriously just 3 years later, and visitors to the cave say the area continues to be haunted by the malevolent spirit of the witch. Our number 6 is the Myrtles Plantation in St. Francisville, Louisiana. Mr. Woodruff was known for his particularly harsh and brutal treatment of his slaves. One named Chloe would rebel after Mr. Woodruff cut off one of her ears for eavesdropping on a conversation within the home. Chloe carefully plotted her revenge and poisoned the food of Mrs. Woodruff and their children, killing them all. She was found out and later hung from a tree, and her body was weighted down by rocks and thrown into the Mississippi River. Visitors to the house have witnessed furniture moving around the house on its own, and in 1992, the owner even took a photo in which many claim to see the apparition of Chloe outside of the house. At number 5 is the Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky. This location was home to a tuberculosis hospital in the mid-1900s. At the time, tuberculosis was deadly and extremely contagious. This led to patients and staff being quarantined within the hospital, unable to leave. Over 6,000 succumbed to the illness and died within its walls. The building housed a 600-foot-long body chute that was used to transport hundreds of dead corpses discreetly. Since then, strange orbs of light have been seen, and one room in particular, room 502, seems to be the epicenter of paranormal activity. This room is where the hospital housed patients with mental illness. It's said that a nurse even committed suicide in front of the patients within this very room. Number 4 is one of the most interesting locations on this list, the Queen Mary in Long Beach, California. The The retired ocean liner served as a luxurious getaway for many around the time of World War II and still functions as a hotel to this day. At least 49 deaths have been confirmed within the ship since its maiden voyage. Visitors and overnight guests have made countless claims of ghostly encounters. So many of the rooms have stories that we simply don't have enough time to explore them all, but the room that's said to be the most haunted is stateroom B340. A man by the name of Walter J. Adamson passed away within this room. Not long after, a woman staying there said that the sheets were pulled back from the bed while she was fast asleep, and she woke up to find a ghostly figure standing at her feet. Other guests have reported strange knocking noises from the door, walls, and even the floor, lights turning on and off, and shadowy figures within the room. Come here. Starting off our top 3 is the Gettysburg Battlefield in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. The history of this Civil War battle is well known and claimed around 50,000 lives in what would become the bloodiest war on American soil. The sheer amount of death this area has seen now equates in local legends that surround the entire area of Gettysburg, but the battlefield itself might just be the most haunted. Visitors have claimed to see soldiers from both sides of the war appearing in front of them. There have also been endless reports of phantom gunfire being heard across the field and death cries that echo from all around. At 2, we find the Eastern State Penitentiary. This paranormal prison was built in 1829 and is widely known for its inhumane conditions and use of extreme measures in solitary confinement. The famous writer Charles Dickens likened their practices to that of being buried alive. Visitors have described seeing ghostly figures and hearing cackling coming from certain cell blocks. But the shadow figures are what the haunted prison is really known for. Violent demons are said to sit and wait within certain cells and physically grip visitors in a terrifying embrace. And our #1 most haunted location in America is the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. This historic hotel has inspired legends such as Stephen King to write The Shining and Stanley Kubrick to adapt it into the chilling horror film classic of the same name. Opening its doors in 1909, it didn't take long for this place to earn a haunted reputation. Room 217 is known far and wide for being the most haunted. Ghosts of chambermaids and other hotel staff have been seen within the room. But honestly, instances from all over the hotel have made this a place of paranormal legend. And that wraps up this week's countdown. As always, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel to see future countdowns. And let me know which place on our list you would be brave enough to visit. Until next time.